Thriller at the Gas Station, an Oswald and Mickey sound cartoon. It was a remarkably bright day in the careless and virtually jobless years of the Great Depression. Little boys would sing their happiness along with random animated objects and a funny-looking cactus, while the joyful balls of desert dust would just dance aimlessly on the road, they too singing. Taking a nap under the somewhat doubtful freshness of a plasticized palm tree were our two protagonists, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit and his little brother Mickey Mouse, same father, different mother. The sound of their collective snores played in sync with the multiple sharp Z's coming out of their mouths that were methodically chopping down the previously mentioned three. It didn't take too long for the plastic log to eventually fall down on their heads, thus welcoming their minds to the waking world. Within a good old parade of dancing stars and head-forming lumps, by pulling his long fluffy ears, Oswald managed to restore his frisbee-like flattened body to its previous glory. His little bro Mickey, however, seemed to be helplessly stuck in the form of a roadkill, with only his arms, legs, and mousy tail capable of any conceivable motion. Needless to say, Oswald was very concerned about his sibling, but then an unspecific lamp turned itself on above his bunny ears, which was one way to say that he had an idea. Ding. He rolled his brother like a carpet for transportation's motives, but put him beside one of the gas pumps, since they happened to work at a gas station, plugged the hose inside the mouth and opened it. In just a few kiloliters per second, Mickey's body turned from asphalt flat to balloon round. When the time seemed mature, Oswald turned off the hose and unplugged it from his sib's oral orifice. After throwing half a ton gasoline right on his older brother's face, Mickey eventually regained his original size. Overjoyed, the young rat tried to thank his rodent savior, but was only met with a gas-covered, frown-faced rabbit. Since the pitch-black substance on Oswald's face made him look like one of those typical racist stereotypes that happened to be so hot back in those days, Mickey couldn't help but laugh wholeheartedly, much to the others' want of amusement. Before their brotherly quarrel could move towards nastier developments, the clear sound of a car horn conquered their attention span. It was their first costumer in weeks. Driving an Alfa Romeo, a rather hairy black dog wearing a top hat approached the Disney Brothers gas station. The two boys were ecstatic, to say the very least. Immediately, Oswald welcomed their guest with genuine courtesy, while Mickey began polishing the car windows. After receiving a whole penny for the service, and after an improvised musical number to exclaim his happiness, Oswald started to refill the car's tank while still whistling. In the meantime, the owner of the automobile asked young Mickey for the public restroom's directions. After spacing out for a few seconds due to the sheer horror the thought of a gas station's bathroom would instill in any living creature, the little mouse motioned the old dog towards the building's backyard. As the canine fella opened the door to that unnameable toilet nightmare, a zombie came out of it and swallowed his head in one chop, right before redisappearing inside the restroom's hellish locales. Noticing with a certain amount of annoyance that his whole brain container was gone, the dog began searching for it. After tripping over several things, he would eventually end up adopting a whole Halloween pumpkin as his new head. Back at the front yard, Oswald had just finished refilling the gas. He asked his brother to pass him a kerchief so that he could clean his face from the sweat. He received the piece of loincloth, only to notice that his mousy relative was still under the car doing some oil change. The rabbit turned his head behind his back and, to his utter terror, he found himself staring at the decaying, brain-craving features of a devilish undead creature. He smiled rather stupidly at it and casually waved his hand while slowly getting away from the drooling zombie. Too bad his escape route was cut out by yet another undead walker, and another few had just joined the party. In that moment, Mickey came out from under the vehicle in order to get a wrench from his toolbox. His toolbox was gently handed to him by a nice dead gentleman with maggots' hair. The boy thanked him for the collaboration before returning under the car, only to literally bust out there from the engine in pictured panic. With nowhere else to go, and with the car suddenly coming to life for the fright and running away without them, the two sibling rodents were now surrounded by the gruesome horde of zombies, slowly getting closer and closer to them. Trembling in fear, Mickey turned his head towards his bigger brother, hoping for help, but Oswald was already one of them. Just when the crowd inside the theater thought it was all over for poor Mickey Mouse, the zombie Oswald and his dead companions began singing and dancing. Oh, I have to do this now, don't I? Oh well. It's close to midnight, and something's evil's looking in the dark. Under the moonlight, you see a sight that almost stops your heart. More lyrics and whatever. Oh, let's just cut to the chase. 'Cause this is Thriller night, and no one's gonna save you from the beast about to strike. You know it's Thriller night. You're fighting for your life inside a thriller killer tonight. Wait. The fancy number went on for a few minutes. Then Mickey finally managed to wake up from the nightmare, visibly agitated. He had taken a short nap under the station's plasticized palm tree. His trustworthy and always caring big brother was there to comfort him. The younger rodent was so happy about it that he immediately hugged him. Unbeknownst to him, however, Oswald turned his head towards the theater's crowd, showing an evil zombie-like expression. Dun, dun, dun. Everybody fled out of the cinema, screaming in terror. The end.